Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our YouTube channel once again. Raila Amolo Odinga, the Azimio party leader, and former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta are out of the country. And because in politics nothing happens out of mere coincidence, why do you think the two gentlemen left the country? Of course, Uhuru Kenyatta is in Ethiopia, and Raila Amolo Odinga currently is in Dubai. But I'm sure somewhere along the way, these guys are likely to meet. I'll be following the two gentlemen, and probably I'll bring you a comprehensive analysis about their trip outside the country. And something has also caught my attention today. William Ruto announced that they'll start deducting 3% from the salaries of all civil servants in this country. For me, I tend to think that's totally unfair of the government to try and fund their activities using the money earned by Kenyans. And what caught my attention further, very funnily, is a statement which Rigathi Gachagua made while in Botswana, that the government will be constructing houses for Kenyans in the diaspora. How is that even possible? So let's just take a second or two, pray for this government, because I don't think we are taking the right route. Anyway, that's not the main topic for today. In this video today, I want us to look at Azimio and the bipartisan talks, which is supposed to kick off on Tuesday. Azimio have actually announced that if the talks will not yield much fruit on Tuesday, then they are going to call for Maandamano beginning Thursday. I want us to look at why they are using that strategy of Maandamano should the talks fail. As a matter of fact, Azimio are very clear on what they want. The first thing they are demanding is that the talks should be extra parliament, outside parliament. Kenya Kwanza is very clear that the talks must be within parliament. But I've seen them trying to reduce their expectations a bit. The other demand Azimio are putting on the table is that servers, the issue of the servers must be on the table. Kenya Kwanza are very clear that elections were done and dusted. But yesterday but one, they also talked about allowing Azimio to access the server. And I was talking to someone who told me that Kenya Kwanza are under immense pressure from the United States of America and the British government to open the servers. If they won't do that, then the superpowers are going to throw them under the bus. So let us wait and see how everything is going to unfold on Tuesday. But why do you think Azimio are calling for mass action on Thursday should the talks fail? For me, I have the following reasons. But before I get into all those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. What we do on this channel is that we analyze politics in a way you can't find any other place. So the best thing is to subscribe. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. And I'm glad today it has really rained here in Kisumu. I don't know whether it has also rained in your area. Maybe you could also let me know. But why do you think Azimio are calling for these demonstrations? Number one, Azimio has realized that the only language which Kenya Kwanza understands is street protest. The moment Azimio called off the protest to allow for talks, Kenya Kwanza got their voice back. And they started talking as if Azimio were never serious with the demonstrations. So Azimio understands that if they don't pile pressure, if they don't go to the streets, Kenya Kwanza will not take them seriously. Kenya Kwanza will not take these talks seriously. Just, was it yesterday in Meru? William Ruto was very clear that as Kenya Kwanza, they are not going to allow any talks outside parliament. But remember, at some point, William Ruto was very quick and was willing to do anything. In fact, at some point, he was even very clear that even if it means calling Raila Odinga my brother, will make them sit and talk, he was going to do that. But because Azimio called these talks, called off the demonstrations, now they could talk the way they wanted. And personally, if there's any mistake, the biggest mistake Azimio committed was to call off the demonstrations. You see, Azimio had a very clear timeline, a very clear strategy, and they had the support of their supporters on the issue of the demonstrations. So as much as he entered into some talks with Ruto, what Azimio ought to have done was not to call off the demonstrations. They ought to have just told Kenyans that for us, we are standing down these demonstrations as we wait for the outcome of the talks. And should the talks fail, then we are going to come back to you. But you see, they called them off to allow for talks. Then immediately, these guys realized that that was not going to happen. So they decided to call them back again. So for me, I think Azimio has learned that the only language which Kenya Kwanza understands is that language of Maandamano. Number two, it also could be a strategy to force Kenya Kwanza to take the talks seriously. It could be a strategy. Because, for Kenya Kwanza, the moment Azimio called off these demonstrations, they figured out that they could twist Azimio. They could go back and deal with the issues which Azimio were trying to raise while not taking the issues of the demonstrations seriously. For example, Azimio was saying that the first thing we want to do is you guys to lower the cost of living. Currently, as we speak, I think they negotiated with some millers and they lowered the cost of unga to 150 or 159. If there's anyone who has bought unga at 150, please, you can just carry your hands and let us know. I forgot to check the prices today because I just left supermarket now. I ought to have checked. And then they also agreed on the issue of commissioners, IBC commissioners. They said, okay, for that one, we are going to do this, we are going to do this, we are going to do that, which I think is one of the issues they're willing to agree on. Then they said, okay, on the issue of servers, we are not going to go there. So they realized that once Azimio called off those rallies, their supporters were going to get angry. And indeed, Azimio supporters were very angry and they were very bitter by the fact that these guys just decided to call off the demos. And they knew once the demos were called off, it was going to be very difficult for Azimio to rally their supporters back. So I tend to think that Azimio are doing this to make them understand that if they don't take these talks seriously, the way they've been doing, then definitely they are going to ask their supporters to go back to the street. Number three, which I think could be the main reason why Azimio are going back to the streets, is because they want to sustain the narrative, the bipartisan narrative. Because Kenya Kwanza and William Ruto are very cheeky. If you don't become keen with them, then they can do whatever they want. By the time you are realizing, it's late. Azimio are placing the demands on the table. And the demands are three. I think now they are trying to squeeze in a fourth one. The servers, the commissioners, and cost of living. I think now they are talking of, I don't know, Cherera, which for me is neither here nor there. But how can they sustain these talks? Because if you allow the parliamentarians to discuss without you selling your agenda to the public outside there, it means you are likely to lose the narrative. Kenyans might forget. And Kenya Kwanza are currently in government. They have intelligence. And by the way, if Kenya government has intelligence, how was it possible for Pastor Mackenzie, or is it a Prophet Mackenzie, to do whatever he has done all those years or all those months without the government realizing? Is it, for me, I tend to think that this country should be disbanded because someone, it's very painful that 39 bodies have actually been discovered buried somewhere in a field because someone asked their followers to fast. And the government is not aware. Or if they were aware, what were they doing? Is it possible that this guy was collecting money? Because I just learned that some air hostess sold everything and delivered 7 million so that she could fast, surely. Anyway, it's very painful, but Azimio are keen on sustaining their narrative. If they don't go for the demos, Kenyans will forget about Azimio. Kenyans will forget about whatever they were pushing for. The outcome is what will matter. Azimio wants a situation where when the media will be airing those discussions in parliament or wherever, then alongside there will be Azimio also demonstrating, calling for the same things. So they want to sustain the narrative. And that's why they were calling for town hall meetings, so that they could continue telling their supporters what they want, what is it that they really want on this particular matter. And lastly, it is also a warning and a strong message to Kenya Kwanza that if you joke with this process, then we have an alternative which we are good at: Maandamano. And I'm sure that the Maandamano, if it will be called this time around, it will be serious. Because already they've submitted their petition to ICC, which has acknowledged their receipt. Josephat Kome or Jafeth Kome is on the spot, would not want to escalate further. William Ruto, as a former victim of ICC, would not want to really mess up. But Azimio will be trying so hard to push them. So whether they'll be able to brand Azimio as violent, maybe that one will leave for now. But Azimio are sending a message to Kenya Kwanza that for us, we are ready. And we are ready anytime to go back to the demonstrations. I don't know what you think. Do you support Maandamanos? Let me know. And in fact, if you watch this video up to this point, let me know whether you support Maandamanos or not. Just tell me I support or I don't support. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.